It's the Brahmas at the Showboats. Visitors favored by 2.5. Total sits at 40.5. Forecast for Memphis Saturday, 60 and partly cloudy with a breeze. I want to start with this San Antonio offense up against the Memphis defense. A.J. Smith, back where he belongs, on the sidelines. After spending the entire XFL season in the booth last year, that seemed to make a pretty big difference. I was also impressed with how poised Chase Garbers looked against a pretty strong DC front. AJ actually said during the ESPN broadcast that Greg Williams would normally come out into Tampa 2, but he didn't. And look what happened. Garbers and the Brahmas right down the field on the first drive. 11 plays, 60 yards, just like that, 7-0. I'll tell you what San Antonio has, guys, on this side of the ball. They have an accurate quarterback who can ditch the pocket with Chase Garbers. They have the best running back duo in the XFL conference with Anthony McFarland and John Lovett. They have the most dynamic playmaker in the XFL conference with Jontre Kirkland. He could run, he could catch, he could even throw the ball. And also, they probably have the fastest guy in the league with Marquez Stevenson lining up out wide. So you add all that together with a center who anchors a pretty damn good offensive line and also somehow catches 40-yard touchdown passes. And then you got A.J. Smith as well. So a winning formula for San Antonio. However, it wasn't all perfect. If you're the Memphis defense this week, you have an edge, and it's on third down. San Antonio, just 1 of 8 on third down last week. That was worst in the UFL. They made up for it by going 3 for 4 on fourth down, staying aggressive, as A.J. Smith will continue to do. They also had 2 major breaks, did that San Antonio offense. They had a fake field goal touchdown, and they had penalties that wiped at least 15, if not more, DC points completely off the board, which just so happens to be around the margin they lost by in a 2-score game. Those penalties set them up for San Antonio's only second-half touchdown. So Memphis, guys, the only defense to score this entire weekend, as you just saw on the highlight. They also racked up 4 sacks, which is tied for a league high. Greg Reeves with a pair of those himself. He's out of USF. This defense showed out. They pitched a shutout through 29 minutes of football. And statistically, they are the number 1 defense in the UFL currently. But with all that said, on this side of the ball, edge to the San Antonio offense. I just feel like Memphis is taking a step up in competition here. This isn't Houston. San Antonio's faster than Houston. They protect the quarterback better than Houston. I mean, think about it. San Antonio dropped 14 on DC's defense before I could even peel my damn Easter egg. Thanks, A.J. Smith. I had a great dinner. But if Memphis wants to flip this edge, here's what you got to do. Get them in third and long situations, and you do what DC couldn't, which is get home to Chase Garbers. And we saw on some injury reports that San Antonio might be missing their starting tackle, Derek Kelly, which could open the door for the Memphis pass rush. I would take the ball here to start if I'm John DeFilippo. Remember, home team gets to choose. I would take the ball. That Brahmas offense has been super quick strike. The last thing you want is to be playing from behind against A.J. Smith and co. So again, slight edge here to San Antonio's offense. Let's flip sides of the ball. The Memphis offense against that Brahmas defense. This is where I think Memphis tends to be maybe a tad overrated. I'm seeing them as high as 3 in a lot of UFL sets of power rankings from different outlets. I don't know. We had them at 7, and I'm going to get a lot of pushback. That's not a traditional 7 out of 8. That's just, I think they played the worst team in the league, and I'm only going to give them credit for beating that team. They haven't beat anybody else yet to move them up against teams that played against tougher competition. Let's talk about Memphis offensively. Case Cookis only completed 57% of his passes, which I would be fine with if the Showboats were playing from behind, but they were not. They had the lead, so the completion percentage should reflect that. It was 15-3 at half, and the running game was still garbage. I mean, that's the kind of game situation you want to rely on the run. And the running backs had 14 carries for 2 yards. 14 carries for 2 yards from your running backs. How do you have 2 rushing yards from your tailbacks? I just, especially when you have a 2-score lead the entire game, leaning on the clock, just a red flag. A lot of credit to the Houston defense, but that Memphis running game was awful. And they turned it over twice in the second half and nearly blew the lead. The offense, of course, has some potential. Here's the problem. They get in those passing situations in the first half that make Cookus look pretty good on third down. In fact, they went 9 of 15 on third down. But they can't establish the run against a very good San Antonio defense, who, as you see, tie for the league in sacks, second against the run through 1 week, and really good in red zone defense. I mean, San Antonio's defense made Jordan Ta'amu look like a shell of himself on Sunday. So how will Memphis offensive line, who gave up 3 sacks and 7 TFLs to Houston, contain probably the best front 7 in the UFL with the San Antonio Brahmas? I don't think they can. I know the Brahmas might have a starter or 2 hurt, looking at the reports, but large, huge edge to San Antonio's defense here in this one. That's where the value lays for me in the Brahmas as a short favorite, and that's why you're seeing more money come in. This line opened at 1.5. It took steam to 2.5 already. If Memphis can only muster 1 offensive touchdown against Houston, I'm not sure they can do better than that against San Antonio. And I don't like the total here because it's 40, but gun to my head, I lean the under as well in this one. Zook, the Brahmas are the pick here. Wade Phillips out there in the bright yellow polo, kind of looking like a wet floor sign. But I think he has a championship caliber squad this year. I love Coach Wade, but maybe switch the polo up to the black this week.
I can't believe you went there.
I'm trying to be nice. I love Coach Wade, but I mean, that is like...
Everybody thought it.
It's like he looks like a
But you're the one
sign.
that said it out loud.
I mean, it's hard to rock yellow.
I know.
And
especially solid yellow.
I would love to get to that point in my career where I just do not care like Wade Phillips. I got to give him credit for that. He's like, yeah, I look like the damn sun shining out here. Like, this is what we're going with. Who you got, Zook?
This is sad because it doesn't happen much, but I'm not going to say much because I actually agree with everything you said. You should probably timestamp this.
Oh!
You should probably timestamp this.
Doubling up.
Because
is that a hint for best bets, maybe?
It doesn't.
Ooh.
It might be.